Welcome to Autism and Goodness. My name is Tiffany. Um, no special guest today, just me again. But today I think I got something good for you. We're going to go through some resources, which I mean by that is basically walking through some of the different like programs, things that we've tried over the years from a resource standpoint. This is not everything. I might have to split this up in two parts. Let's see how far I get to not keep this too long. But why don't you just talk through some of the different type of programs we've tried over the years with James, and just kind of give like some commentary about each of those programs. So let's get into some resources. So um, I would say when you're looking for programs for your child with autism, the approach that while there's lots of programs that are specific to people with special needs or like autism, it is important to like if especially early on when you're trying to find out what they're interested in and you're trying to try. Yes, come on, open the door. Yeah. Hi. I'm doing a video. I'm just doing a video. You want to say hi? Hi. Okay, thank you. Okay. It's important when you're trying to figure out what your child is interested in, what they'll gravitate towards, to try multiple different things. You don't really have to limit yourself to something that's specific to special needs or autism, specifically depending on where they're at in the spectrum. And then also, if it's a particular activity that they're showing a particular interest in, I always, if you see that program and it's, typically for like just neurotypical children, I usually will just contact them and explain like, hey, my son has autism. These are the particular issues he has. Are you able to support him? And most of the time, you can get a program that will be able to support them, and I'll kind of talk through that a little bit as I go through some of the programs. But it's helpful to just kind of try, and so you don't think you're just limited to that because it has to be like labeled that, like, if they want to play some type of like sports, or you find a program that might be something that they could try, like a t-ball program or something like that, just ask if they can support you and your child with their special needs. Sports fine. And that's, like I said, that's my philosophy for pretty much everything is I'm just gonna try something and see what happens, and if it don't work out, then we don't try it again, and if it does work out, we keep moving and hopefully it's successful. So, getting into that, so I talked about speech therapy, and the speech therapy that, if you're in Michigan, the speech therapy that we ended up going with was with Beaumont. At the time, it was Beaumont Speech Therapy. I think they're called Corewell now, but they have a speech therapy program in West Bloomfield. Which was amazing. This is like, kind of where we kicked off our journey, like not even knowing what autism was. But in addition to speech therapy and occupational therapy, they also had like kind of like social skills clubs where they offered like karate classes and I think it was one other thing, but we only tried the karate class and I'll flash up a picture of him doing karate, or at least the little outfit he had. He didn't have like a full, it may have not been karate, it may have been like another form of martial arts, but well, for the sake of this, I'll say karate because I can't remember what the martial, like what it was. But anyway, um, so again, this was early on me trying to figure out what James is interested in, what James likes, and I found out he did not like karate, wasn't into that. He basically cried the whole time. I but I was persistent. I was like, well, we're gonna try to finish something. So I think towards the end, I want to say it was maybe 4 sessions we had. It was a group session, and every time he just whined and cried the whole time. This was not until maybe the last session where he was finally able to get through one without fussing the whole time. Um, so yeah, he did not like karate, but we did try it. So and because it was within that particular facility, they of course were able to support him and knew that he's on the spectrum. So this is to be expected, especially when trying something that's out of his comfort zone. Um, but yeah, they offered like also group therapy sessions. So some of the um, like occupational type of things that he did was in a group therapy session. So it was him and like maybe two to three other kids, and they would do things like you know try to mold clay, and I'm trying to think what else. It's a long time ago. Try to put things together, but it was like in a social. They would also kind of prompt them to try to interact with each other too. So it was like twofold. It was like working on occupational skills and also working on social skills at the same time. So that was pretty awesome that we were able to do that. So yeah, but definitely check out what formerly Beaumont, now Corewell Health, has to offer for that regard. Another type of therapy that we tried was music therapy, and we did this with it's called Far Therapeutic in Birmingham, and I'll put all the information in the captions. But so music therapy, if you're not familiar with, is something where it's basically like another means to like it could be used to like a calming. It could be used to kind of help prompt speech because of your singing songs, but just another type of therapy to have in your tool belt. I wouldn't say, depending on where your child is in the spectrum, I wouldn't exclusively just use music therapy probably, and we never did, but it was just always something we tried. So he did enjoy that because James does, I think I mentioned before, he does like to sing. So he did like music therapy quite a bit. So we did do a few sessions at their facility in Birmingham. Um, from a camp perspective, like, in the summertime, you're looking for stuff for your kids to do. Um, we tried a few different camps. None of them were ever special needs camps. So, the first summer type of program we tried was within the school district we were previously in. They offered like a summer camp situation. I would say it was more, they had activities for the kids throughout the day to keep them busy, but it was through the district. It was more like a daycare ish, if you will, but just offered through the summer. And what we found was because it's through the district, it's pretty affordable. Everybody brings their kids there. So he wasn't really great at that time with crowds and a lot of other kids. So it got like really crowded. And then it was maybe one summer. No, yeah, it was a summer that we just couldn't finish it because he got really, really anxious, and they had to figure out how to keep him separated. And they didn't really, the program wasn't really set up to support him in that way. So, which my fault for not really asking. I was assuming because this is a school district he goes to that they would have support for him, but it was more for a general group of kids and more for neurotypical kids set up that they kind of, just play and do their own thing. But when you have someone with autism, you have a bunch of kids like in a room screaming and like carrying on and making loud noises. That's not, the best situation for him. So we weren't able to do that. But we did eventually find the YMCA had a camp program, and they have an inclusion camp program. And so what that means, so the term inclusion, that could be used within a school setting or a camp setting. For specifically for a camp setting, that pretty much means is that they aren't, special needs children aren't like whisked away and kept separately. If they're part of kind of the general camp group, so with neurotypical kids, and it allows them interactions for like social activities. And I always found with James is that he's always very interested in being around neurotypical kids. Because what he's trying to do is like emulate them a little bit. And so that could be good or bad. Like you can pick up bad stuff or good stuff, but for the most part, it's been pretty good things he's picked up. Where trying to learn how to be social, trying to learn how to talk, trying to learn social cues. Like it's really helpful to be in that inclusion. And then, you're part of the greater group. So they had an inclusion program at the YMCA that was close to our home. And he did the inclusion camp. So also a part of the inclusion camp is while they are with kind of the general group and the neurotypical kids, they do have like an aid or support person that kind of helps and like watches them and like supports them while they're within the larger camp. So he did have that extra support, and he did it for many years and loved it, the inclusion part of that camp. And then it was like one summer where they kind of pulled me aside and said, can we talk to you for a minute? And I was like, oh, here we go. So, anytime they ask you to pull me aside and, talk to me, it's usually not great news. So I'm kind of used to that. So anyway, but this was different. So they pulled me aside and said, "Hey, wanted to talk to you about James being in an inclusion camp. Um, we actually been testing him out in just regular camp without inclusion and not having a support, and he's been doing like really really well. Like we've been testing him for the last 2 weeks, and he's grown a lot. He hasn't needed support. He really is bonding with the other kids. They've taken him in and really welcomed him into the camp. They play with him. He has like genuine friendships. So if you're okay, we'd like to take him out of inclusion camp and just put him in the general camp, without the extra charge of inclusion, because I forgot that that's usually an extra charge for inclusion because you're paying for the additional support." So I was like, "Oh, that's great news, actually." So I thought that was one of the amazing things to hear, is like someone that a parent that has a child with special needs, that they can kind of go and do and just be a regular kid and just have fun and just not need to be constantly supported. So that was great news. So he did that camp. Wow, like 5 or 6 years maybe, I want to say. But yeah, he had fun every summer. They swam every day in the pool. They do a swim test, swim abilities test every time that they go to the they'll go to the pool, and to test to make sure that the kids can swim and everything. If they can't swim, they put a life jacket on them. So he usually, this was kind of before he was really good at swimming. They would always put a life jacket on him just so he can like just float, just kind of hang out in the pool. So yeah, he did that for quite a few summers and enjoyed that a lot. In addition to doing the swimming every day, they have activities on the ground, but they also do like a field trip. Um, I think they did field trips twice a week, um, for the YMCA camp. And then it was a period of time where they did include lunch, but it was like after a while, I think they lost funding and they didn't include lunch. But yeah, for a while they did include lunch, and also breakfast if they got there early enough and wanted to eat breakfast there too. So definitely check out the YMCA in your area to see if they offer a summer camp and offer inclusion camp specifically for your child. Another thing for the YMCA we also did was, speaking of swimming, they also have adaptive swim lessons. So if you're not familiar with adaptive swim lessons, that is specifically swim lessons geared towards someone with special needs. So it takes a little bit extra skill from a swim instructor to understand how to communicate with someone with special needs, to get something out of them and be able to instruct them on how to learn how to swim. So he's always, since he was very young, has been interested in the water, never been scared of the water, always shown interest, but he's been cautious where he wouldn't just kind of walk. Because like we've been to the beach, he wouldn't just like walk out into the ocean or whatever, or walk out into a lake or anything. But he always has just been interested in just being in water and playing and splashing around in water. So I got him into swim, like I want to say maybe around second grade or so, getting him used to the water, getting him familiar with things. And so we did adaptive swim lessons with the YMCA. He did that once a week, 30-minute sessions, and you can do it for however long you like. All the swim instructors were amazing, and to this day he's actually become a pretty strong swimmer. So I'll get into that kind of later, or another part depending on how long this goes. But definitely check out your YMCA. In addition to the summer camp and the adaptive swim lessons, they will frequently have something called Parents Night Out, where you can, drop your child off and kind of have a date night out. Again, I would always just contact them and say, hey, because they were familiar with him because he'd been going there for so long. And, oh, yeah, sure, Jones can come, no problem. Da, 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 was never an issue. But yeah, YMCA is a great resource for different activities if you want to just try different things. And usually they can support someone with special needs. So definitely check out your local YMCA. Another thing that he's tried, this was a long time ago. I think this was preschool. We have a place in our town. It's called OATS, and OATS stands for Offering Alternative Therapy with Smiles. And what that is like, it is I guess for lack of a better term, a ranch with horses, and they offer adaptive horseback riding lessons. The horses are usually a lot older, um, but they're trained to be able to like be more calmer. You're not putting them on like a bucking bronco or anything like that, but calmer horses, and they're able to kind of move slowly, and they are able to teach children how to ride horses, and how to also, while they're riding horses, be able to give commands to the horses, so using like kind of verbal cues that kind of help them with their speech as well. really cool program. He did it once in preschool and had a good time. I'll put those pictures and videos up too, so you can see him smile and have a good time doing that. But that is a cool thing to try out. And I do know one of James's former classmates did that program for quite a while. I think almost up into high school, and got a really good was really really got a love for horses from that and really enjoyed it. So, and I think he has a horse now. So shout out to Grant. But yeah, really great program. When you find people that, come up with things that are like, not traditional, out of the box that our kids can try, it's always amazing. Um, Switching gears. So Oakland University, they have a organization within there called OU Cares. And within OU Cares, that is specific to autism support programs. So whether it be education, whether it be um, uh, just like fun activities, support for parents, pretty much that full lineup of different programs. The things that we've tried with OU Cares is we did their soccer program. This is when he was, early in elementary school. He did soccer with OU Cares. And it is specific for children with autism. So it could be a range of like throughout the spectrum. Could be wherever they fall. But teaching them like basic skills about soccer. So he did that for a session. They do offer swim classes as well. It's a group swim class. So the YMCA offers private lessons, but the OU Cares program is like a group swim lesson. And I found that while he enjoyed it, but it was more because it was a group and so many, it was like a lot of kids. I want to say it's maybe 8 kids. I felt that they weren't really, it was more like the social part of it. So they were like kind of going to the pool and like swim. I don't feel like they were really broadening his skills about swimming. It was just more so it's taught by the swim team at Oakland University, which is really cool. But it was more so them spending time, them being social, and kind of a little bit teaching here or there, but nothing like no like major intense teaching them like swim lessons. So, but it's something for you to try if you want to at least gauge to see if your child is interested in like the water or swimming, like in that group setting. And then it's the social aspect of it as well. OU Cares also offers parent support groups. So that is where I did do the support group that I mentioned a couple episodes, like last episode and a couple episodes ago. And I know it sounded like a negative experience, but I guess it's whatever you feel you need. Know that parents of children with autism, they're processing it very differently. So even today, I find parents that their method of doing things is not how I do it. They may think that my method of doing things is not how they're going to do it. Like, for example, I know like parents of they have a son that he's like about to turn 21 and he doesn't do chores and they're struggling to figure out how to get him to do chores. Now he's pretty high functioning. Um, you know, um Yeah, so, but that's foreign to me because James has done chores since elementary school. So I've taught him how to do laundry. I've taught him how to wash the dishes. I've taught him how to clean up after himself. He knows how to vacuum. So this whole grown ass person who don't know how to do chores that's high functioning is just not. I don't know this life. So but that's like a small example. But just to say, like, when you get into like a group setting, a support group setting, it may sometimes get a little down. But if you feel you need to just find your tribe and commiserate and talk with other parents that are kind of going through something similar, I would definitely try a support group. I went in thinking it was going to be something completely different, where I thought it was more like a idea and resource sharing, but it was more like oh, we're just emotionally just dumping. Like, and I wasn't in the headspace for that. And I think now I might do it again, but it was at the time I was very much in like strategy mode and strategic mode, and I was like, we got to figure out the next thing we got to try, and then we got to figure out the resources. Like I was very much that person. So yeah, it may have been like the wrong time for me to try it, but if it's something that you think you're interested in, where you can at least talk to someone or like hear other people's experience, if you feel you need that, definitely try a support group. OU Cares does offer that for parents with children with autism. Um, in addition to that, I don't think this was specifically through OU Cares, but I found it through OU Cares. So Oakland University, they actually used to, I think they still do. They offer actually private therapy sessions, uh, like a psychologist, actually someone that's studying psychology, where you can actually sit and have private therapy sessions as well. I actually found it through the person that ran the support group because I was going to try to go to another one. I was going to put myself through it again, but then she had recommended that she hadn't started another group. But she's like, but if you just, want to talk things out with someone, there's private therapy that's offered through the university. And she put me through in touch with that department. So uh, it was no charge for it. So it's actually pretty interesting because if you're someone who's never tried any type of therapy or talked to a therapist, any psychologist, it is a good like entry point into it. I know now this so how long ago this was. Now every like you can do it online through like BetterHelp and like Headspace. But at the time I had never talked to a therapist or anything, so it was good for me to at least have someone to be able to kind of talk things out and just kind of, can't remember exactly other than dealing with, being a special needs mom. Can't remember what else I was dealing with at the time. I think it was something work related at one of my old jobs. Yeah, it was. Now that I'm thinking about it. So it kind of helped me talk through both of those things. And it was a good way to try therapy to see if it was something that I was interested in. And it ended up being that way. So I did quite a few sessions with them. So definitely something to check out and look into if you're interested in that through OU Cares. And I'd imagine that since I was offered through the university, there might be other colleges that offer something pretty similar for psychology students to kind of get that training and get, that experience. So definitely give it a shot. Another thing is that within your city, your Parks and Recreation department may offer adaptive activities through their department. So, the city that we lived in before, they offer different like sports activities that included people with special needs. So they had a thing where it was another soccer program where you could sign up for it. And if, say, James had like a buddy that was neurotypical, he can have like a buddy that a support buddy that can do it with him. We sign them both up and they kind of work with each other during that. So they had that, but they have many different activities that were adaptive for someone with special needs. So definitely check out your Parks and Recreation department because they may have something that you can try with your child, or even if it's not adaptive. Again, like I said, if you see an activity that you want to just have your child try to just understand what they're interested in, just call and ask and say, hey, I have a child with special needs and these are their specific needs. Are you able to support them? And you'd be surprised because a lot of times they can't, like, we try to act like autism's not a common thing, but it's pretty damn common. So, but we just don't like to talk about it. Why is that? Like, just talk about it. Like, let's normalize it. So it's a normal thing. I can't remember what the numbers are, but it was one point, it was one in like 33 kids, or no, one in 10 kids or something like that is diagnosed with autism. So I'll put up the actual number. I'll go back and look it up, but I believe we're at 1 in 10 now. At one point it was 1 in 33. I believe it's at 1 in 10 now. So it's pretty common. So if you think about, someone, or you've heard of someone that that has autism. You may not know what it is, but you've heard of it, or you've heard of it out there. Autism, Down syndrome, any type of someone that has some type of cognitive issues. You've heard of this before, so it's pretty normal, and you'd be surprised at people who will be able to support you if you want to try their activity. So definitely try it out, advocate for your child, and reach out and say, hey, can you help us out? We want to try your activity. So those are like a lot of the things we tried more so when he was like a kid. So I'm gonna kind of go into like things that we have tried and have like checked out for him, like from an adult standpoint. Um, there's one thing I think in here that kind of crosses over, but anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. So I mentioned before about MRS, Michigan Rehabilitation Services, and that particular group is their focus is helping people with special needs find employment. And so he's done like a summer work program with them for 2 summers. They're supposed to work with your child starting in 11th grade to kind of help them. This I'm going to say what they're supposed to do, and then what they actually did for us. So they're my understanding is they're supposed to actually work with you and your child to put together a plan to figure out from an employment standpoint what type of work they want to do, what type of skills they have, and what type of opportunities could be for them. They're supposed to put together this plan similar to an IEP, but it's specific to employment. If it once your if your child is assigned to like a caseworker, this is supposed to be what they do, and then from there they're supposed to provide the resources to help them get that employment, whether they need transportation, whether they need like training skills, to help with get those employability skills up, learning how to write a resume, like whatever it's required in order, and be able to provide that to them to help them find some type of employment. And then they also partner with different companies and organizations that are looking for employees that MRS that works with. What they actually did for me was none of that. So keeping it 100. So what I found with MRS, they did the summer work program, and it was a great program. But like the concept and the idea was great, where you have teenagers that have special needs. You put them in assignments at like there was all retail assignments, all retail store assignments. You put them in those situations. You have a job coach that monitors them, gives them instructions on what they need to do, what type of work they need to do. It's for 8 weeks. You get paid minimum wage. All sounds great. And then you're supposed to give a report to their parent, so that that parent can understand like what skills they have, what they need to work on, and then that they can use that to help their IEP with their particular school. So the first summer he did that, I mentioned before, I didn't get the report. It's it's a government program, and unfortunately, sometimes those aren't the best, they aren't set up for the best success. They have the best intentions, but it really depends on you having someone who is a good caseworker and that's proactive. I've not found that person yet. I have to stalk them. I have to constantly bug them, ask them. Example, current day, recently, the school district asked if he was going to do the summer work program again with MRS, and I thought about it. I was like, I haven't heard from MRS since September. So let me reach out to them, because what they're also supposed to do is send you different opportunities, or they have different like job fairs specific to people with special needs, and they have different like they're supposed to be constantly sending you resources and emails. I haven't heard from anyone from MRS since September. So I had reached out to them and asked, hey, haven't his caseworker, I reached out to her, and haven't I responded to the email, the last email I got from her from September. Hi, haven't heard from you. Was interested in possibly having James do the summer work program again. Is that available to him? She did respond right away to say, "Oh, you're a little early. We're still working with our different vendors and identifying them and getting them set up and putting the details together. We should have that in 2 weeks." So I put a reminder in my calendar for 2 weeks, because this is what you have to do. So, because last summer I signed him up for the summer work program, I did get an email saying that they were doing the program, and if you're interested, to respond. And I did, and said, thank you. We'll reach out to you with more details. So I sat, and then it came to like June, and I hadn't heard anything. And I responded back, hey, hasn't heard anything. They forgot about him. So I had to scramble to get him in an assignment for the summer work program, because they forgot about him. So, like I said, the idea of what they do is great in theory, but just know that you really, really, that's something you really have to stay on them to get what you want out of it, and to make sure that they're setting you up and you and your child up for success. It is great he was able to get that experience. It was great he was able to get paid for it. what's not great is I'm just sending him blindly to something and I don't know how he's doing, because this is the whole point of it is he's supposed to get experience in order to be able to apply that to work, and we're supposed to try to understand what he can and can't do from a skills standpoint in a work setting. And if you don't give me the report, or if I have to beg you for the report, like I shouldn't have to do that. I should just get it. Like, why am I begging you for a report? This is like what you're supposed to do. So I'm a little hot and cold on MRS. I don't know if you can tell, but it, like I said, it's a good program, but it's just, you just really gotta stay on them. So anyway, um, another thing that we've done or currently are doing is he's doing like a bowling social club. There's this organization called Autastic Athletics. And the gentleman that runs it, his name's Andrew. He actually has autism, but very high functioning. He's married, has a family, and all that. He runs this program. He does bowling, he does tennis. He also does like kind of like fitness training type of things. Very nice guy, very sweet. But he has, we do it every Friday where there's a group of guys, and I'll put his picture up with the guys. But like it's a group of guys that he bowls with. All the guys are super sweet, all special needs, different types of special needs, but pretty much everyone like at least can talk and can like bowl. So great group of guys, real supportive. Everyone cheers everyone on when they like get the strike or like just hit pins. They just all, they're very just excited to just have a group of friends. But he does that once a week. Um, there is like another portion of his program where he actually teaches you how to bowl, or teaches the kids how to bowl. So that's something to also look into as well. Going back to swim, so currently, um, well, our YMCA ended up closing with the pandemic. They could not afford to keep it open, so that kind of was a bummer. But so I had to find another place where he could probably take a swim lesson. He does enjoy swimming. When he was in high school, part of his program, he went swimming every day, so he really enjoyed that. So I'm, now that he's not in high school, had to find somewhere where he could at bare minimum get lessons. I'm still trying to figure out where he can just go swimming every day. But I was able to find adaptive swim lessons for his age, so he's 18. And it's through Great Lakes Athletic Club in Lake Orion. They have what's called Swim 101 is their program, and they offer the adaptive swim lessons. So that particular person is trained to be able to teach swimming to someone with special needs. She's amazing. She's so sweet, a little too sweet. So I had to let her know, because she like she would give him an instruct. Because the whole point is I'm trying to make him a stronger swimmer. He can basically swim, but like trying to make him like, I'm trying to get Michael Phelps level. Like, I'm serious. Like, now I'm not trying to have him compete, but I want him to be a strong swimmer. Like, that's just something I just want to have him accomplish in his life. And he does enjoy swimming. It's not like I'm forcing him to do it. So she was trying to show him something specific with like his arms and like his leg movements. And like, he wasn't quite doing it right. And so she was kind of letting him slide. So I think after it was one of the lessons, I kind of, said, I was like, okay, he got out of the water, he went to get his towel, and I kind of leaned over to her. I was like, yeah, you can kind of get him the business a little bit. Like, if he's not doing what you want him to do, like, let him know immediately and make him correct it, and make him do it over and over again until he does it right, because he knows how to do it. He takes direction very well. So don't think, he's very nice, he's very sweet. And I know people kind of fall into the, oh, he's so sweet and so cute. Nah, let's get him to business, because he's here for a reason. He's here to learn. So let's do it. And it's been amazing. I'll put some of the videos from his recent swimming lessons in there. But yeah, he's come quite a long way just with that little bit of direction, because she was just super sweet, but she's been getting a little bit tougher with him, and like basically, making him, do things until he gets the form right. So and that's what we want, because that's what we're praying for. Like, so let's make sure he's doing it right, and he's showing he has the ability to do it. That's what I always do, is like, once if you're teaching James in any type of capacity, and you see what his abilities are, and you learn and know him, start getting him to business. Like, nah, it's not acceptable. Like, you do it right. And he responds very well, because he wants to do it right. So that's the good thing about him, is that he's a person who he wants to be perfect, sometimes to a fault, but he wants to get it right. He wants to do right. Um he wants to do great things always. He always wants to do his best job. And he'll tell you that. So yeah, it's time to give him the business. Um let's see. So the next three things aren't things that we've actually signed up for, but things that I've looked into. So I'll just kind of talk through those a little bit. So the actually no, this next one we did sign up for, but we haven't done it yet. So there's an organization called On My Own, and their focus is like different type of training and programs that's specific to like independence, like independent living, and just learning those skills to be able to live independently. So they have a few different things. So the major thing that they just announced is called Independence College, and it is a 2-year program where it's they actually go into to away and live independently, but they're actually getting classroom lesson about independence and how to do different things, whether it be cooking, money management, all those different skills you learn to like be an adult and live independently. They're getting that intensive training within this like living situation in like college setting. So they have a 2-year program for that. The next tier down is like they have a Independence Prep, where they do offer like a summer day camp, which that's what he signed up for. And then that's a day camp that runs in July. And it's that particular program, but it's condensed into like more of this summer program where they're learning those independent skills, which is important. And then they do also have where it's a smaller like weekend session where they go do like an overnight trip. At a hotel, and they learn about how to, they learn how to cook different things. They learn how to figure out their money management. They learn how to socialize. So different type of independence training things that they are learning how to do within these settings. One of his old teachers actually works there, so that's how I found out about it. So I've been kind of looking into it. So we finally signed him up for there's like one overnight thing in April, and then one summer program, yeah, summer program in July. So excited to check those out, excited for him to try those. Then I'm all about trying new experiences and seeing how it goes for him. This is only going to, help him out. So the more he can understand that he's very independent as far as his needs and like getting himself together and like getting himself dressed and like washing himself. He does all that independently. I don't do any of that. But I'd be interested to see like him learning how to cook more, him being able to understand how to manage his finances more, just trying to get those skills regardless of where his guardian or not, just getting those skills so that if it ever becomes a point in time where he has either wants to live independently or has to live independently, he's prepared in some fashion. So interested in trying that out. So coming soon on that. There's also Friendship Circle. We've actually looked into Friendship Circle twice. So once when he was younger, I'm in elementary school, they have this Friendship Circle is an organization where they have different programs for people with special needs. They have this thing called Lifetown at one of their facilities. And Lifetown is amazing. I'll see if I can find pictures to put it up, but it is amazing. It is basically, they've built a replica of like a little small town, and it's basically like it has streets, it has sidewalks, it has different shops, and they have set it up so that someone with special needs can learn how to interact in a public setting and learn how to go to different, like go to like the barber shop or go to like the grocery store and learn how to grocery shop. But it's contained in their facility where they can actually learn with support, and learn how to be independent, learn how to, socialize and learn those social skills that you would learn when you're out in the world. So amazing thing. As an adult, we went to check out, they have a art studio. It's called Soul Studio, I believe. And it's amazing. Like they are really teaching these kids like how to be like artists, and like they have different disciplines within art that they can learn if they're interested in ceramics, if they're interested in watercolors, like pretty much any different discipline within like arts. They have it at that facility. What is also cool is that part of the program is they also teach these students how to make money from your art. So there's a portion of the program where it teaches them like the business side of art, being an artist as well. So I'm like, damn, that's cool. I kind of want to know that, even though I'm not an artist. That's pretty cool. So, and they have it where if a student creates something, they have a store where they can sell their art as well, and they get like a portion of the profits from it. So that's cool. Or if someone designs a particular, like if they paint something and they take that image and put it like on a water bottle, and then that student gets like royalties from using like their art on that particular water bottle. So very cool setup. They also have a cafe at the facility. It's a beautiful cafe. Everything at the facility is beautiful, but they have a beautiful cafe where it's like set up like pretty much like a Starbucks in there. I think they sell Starbucks products, if I'm not mistaken. But one of the other programs they have is that they do job training programs where the student can learn how to work in a cafe. It's a real cafe open to the public, serving like, baked goods. I believe they serve like, sandwiches, like some hot stuff too. And then also, of course, the coffee. But their whole training is learning different jobs within the cafe, whether it's serving, whether it's taking orders, whether it's working in the back in the kitchen. It's a full job training program that they can learn these different skills, which is amazing. And in addition to that, the other jobs training program that I think they just rolled out is called Pause Cafe, where it is at a dog I think dog boarding or grooming. I'll put it in there just to make sure I confirm. But it's basically a dog boarding place where the students can learn how to take care of animals. But it's a job training program, so it's learning how a job of working with animals and like dog boarding facilities. So it's pretty amazing. They also have a bakery that it used to be like a standalone bakery, but the Friendship Circle purchased the bakery in order to be able to provide a job training program to teach students how to work in a bakery. So which is amazing. So yeah, they offer quite a bit. None of their programs are free because obviously, but they do have amazing resources there. But if you're interested, definitely check out, regardless of what age. They have like programs for children, they have programs for adults, so definitely check them out to see if there's anything of interest. If anything, they're very knowledgeable. It'll at least spark your interest to like think about different things to try, because they have quite a bit at their facility. So maybe one day we can try to do something there with James, but the timing of like his programs, like he's at school when a lot of the programs are happening, so wouldn't really work out for him, his schedule. But definitely looking, always keep it in my back pocket is something I want to have him try. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there. Again, that is not all the resources that I have in my brain, but those are all the things I can think of to kind of put in like a little package up really good for you to kind of talk through what our experiences have been. Like I said, definitely don't be scared to try anything. You just never know what your child might be interested in. And then, like I said, some stuff they don't like James don't like karate, and I'll never try it again. So maybe if I'd ask, I think it's like he didn't like the fact of hitting things. Like maybe that's what, or kicking. I don't know. He's not like he's a very like calm and like sweet kid. He doesn't like violent stuff. So maybe that's what it was. But anyway, he didn't like it, so we didn't try it again. But we did try different things and to see what his interests were. We found out he likes to swim. We found out he likes to bowl. So definitely try it, see what happens, and then just I'm always a person where, like I said before, I'll try different things, but I even try things that I know he might make him uncomfortable. So I had mentioned before, I think that last episode that we went to a hibachi place. Now I knew that going to a hibachi grill situation is going to be a sensory nightmare for him, probably, but he has to live in the world. So he has to understand, unfortunately, the world is not built for someone with autism. So we want to make sure that we get him out of his comfort zone. I don't do this to, agitate him. I don't do this, but I need to get him used to the world, because the world is not going to change for him, unfortunately. So I do things like that to get him out of his comfort zone. Another example of that is at school, like I talked about, he has those noise canceling headphones that you use at gun ranges. So he was wearing them at school like all the time. And so when he didn't have them, like when the bell rung for class, he would jump. Or if someone, like, because he's in a special needs program, if someone was to like scream or like make a loud noise, he would like jump. He'd be really jumpy because he's not used to these sounds, because he has these headphones all the time. So when his teacher called me and said, yeah, he's real jumpy, da 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 da. I'm like, well, what do you think it is? She was like, well, I think it's the headphones he's wearing. I was like, take them away. You gotta get used to loud noises. So if it's a situation like when he went to the wrestling event where it's these loud explosions, yes, absolutely take your noise canceling headphones. I would take noise canceling headphones. I don't like no noises like that. But like hearing like a bell ring or another person like screeching or yelling, like that's the world, unfortunately. So you got to get used to those sounds, buddy. Like and he's fine. Like it's not anything that's harming him, because you gotta get used to the world around you, because no one's gonna be quiet for you all the time. So like I said, some people don't agree with my tactics. This is how I run things. So I'm sharing my experiences. But yeah, I will tell anyone, you put your child out in the world. And especially, if you have a child that's, nonverbal, their communication maybe is just screaming. Go out in the world, try things. If it's a situation where they're overwhelmed and they, can't calm down, just take them out of the situation. Take them home. Like, but at least you tried. Don't feel like you have to be a hermit. Because that's not going to really help him, and that's not going to help people understand people like him. It's also educational. Like, if you see a kid that's screaming and hollering, like, oh, they're a bad parent, you might think that, but it just might be they have a kid on the spectrum that's maybe nonverbal, and that's the only way they can verbalize. But I never, anytime in the past where I've taken James somewhere and he got overwhelmed and it was like to the point where, yeah, meltdown, we leave immediately. I take him out of it immediately. I'm at the point where I can gauge him pretty well to know whether or not it's going to be a situation where I can't bring him down from it, but I need to let him get a little uncomfortable every now and then and try different things and explore, because this world is full of different experiences and you shouldn't be limited just because of your autism. So that's why I ended. Try things, see what happens. It might be a disaster. Oh, so what? At least you tried. But yeah, I hope you learned something from this. If not, I'm sorry. But if there is something particular you want me to cover from a resource standpoint, like I said, we tried many different things. That's just a sample. I'll try to bring in some more resources here and there. I'll try to share like experiences, new experiences. I will try to do like just random updates about him and what he's going through here and there. So I might try to do like a 2 week update on that, maybe one long form, one little short thing. So we'll see where it goes. But thank you for tuning in, and I hope you like and subscribe.